Today I want to show you how I turn my sourdough bread into 4 mini loaves. I want to use these mini loaves to make them into bread bowls. Can you just imagine eating a nice warm corn chowder or chili inside a delicious sourdough bread bowl? I can't wait to try it. So I'm going to start by showing you how I make my basic sourdough recipe, and then we'll turn them into mini loaves. So let's jump in. In case you've never seen it, I'm going to show you how I mix my regular bread. So we're going to make these bread bowls by just making a regular sourdough loaf. I always add a little bit of whole wheat flour to my bread. I am going to be adding about, doesn't matter, 75, 80 grams of a whole wheat flour. Let's put that one in first. And because I'm making a single loaf, I'm just going to top this up to bring it up to 500 grams of flour total. I know some people mix the water and the starter first, and I don't do it that way. I never have. I've tried it. My loaves don't turn out, so I'm doing it the way that works best for me. And I add my salt right away. So we're going to add 10 grams of salt. Just give this a good stir. Take it off the scale. I don't complicate making bread. I throw everything in at once. Bread always turns out really nice. I have a really active and bubbly starter. I don't know if you can see. I'm putting 100 grams of starter. Finally, 375 grams of warm water. Then give this a good stir until you form a shaggy dough. It's as simple as that. You just need to cover it up and let it rest for 30 minutes, and then we'll start our stretch and folds. Basically, you're just doing this like you would start a regular sourdough loaf. So let's cover it up. So after 30 minutes, you're going to want to do a series of stretch and folds. So you're going to grab your dough, and you just want to kind of pull it and turn it on top of itself. It's just to kind of start building structure, and you just kind of flop it over. I usually do it more than 4 times. I do it until I start to feel that my dough is starting to become a little bit more resistant. Maybe 5 or 6 times this first run. And you can already see that the dough looks a lot better than when I took my cloth off at first. So once I start to get some good structure, just kind of shape it a little bit. So we need to do 4 sets of stretch and folds every 30 minutes. So this was 1. So I'm just going to do this 3 more times at 30-minute intervals. Once you've done all your stretch and folds, then you just leave your bread alone, covered at room temperature, somewhere around 6 to 8 hours. You'll know when it's done when your finger no longer sticks to the bread, and you can kind of pull it away from the sides of the bowl. Anyways, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, it's 6:15. It's time to check if my bread is ready. I want to say that I had everything mixed, my stretch and folds done by somewhere between, it was around like 1 o'clock, I think, around lunchtime. So it's been sitting in the baskets, in the bowls, I should say, since noon. So let's check to see if my dough is ready to shape. I'm making 2 batches. So I'm making 1 for my mini loaves, and I also need some bread for every day. To see if it was ready is that it shouldn't be sticky. So that's good. They're both ready to go. It should pull away from the bowl. And as you can see, it pulls away. I'm really on the fence in how many sections I need to divide this to make the mini loaves. I'm thinking 3 or 4. Don't know what to do. I think I'm going to go with 3. Okay, I've divided my dough into 3 equal parts. So I want to make 3 bread bowls. And then we just do a rough shape with all 3 of them, kind of stretch them out and laminate them a little bit. I weighed them to make sure that they were close to the same, not exactly. And you just kind of give them a rough shape and you let them rest for about 20 to 30 minutes. We'll just cover this up so it doesn't dry out. So while I'm waiting for my bread to rest for about 30 minutes, I'm going to prepare the baskets. So I have for the mini loaves these little Banneton, I'm not quite sure how they're pronounced, baskets. So just to show you the difference, this is a regular loaf of bread and this is going to be my mini loaves. So this I think is like a 5-inch basket, and these are a lot bigger. And all I do when I say to prepare is they come with these inserts or whatever. It's kind of like a linen cloth with an elastic, and you just put it on and you sprinkle them with flour, and that is it. That's all you need to do to prepare your bowl. So you just want to give your baskets just a light dusting of flour. So I take this and I just kind of flour a little bit in, and that's it. That's all, the only thing that I need to do to prepare my baskets. Some people do this. I do it with regular flour. Some people use rice. Is it rice flour? Hang on. Some people, I'm back. Some people dust with rice flour, and I've tried it before, and I don't know why. I find when I use rice flour, my bread just doesn't turn out like it usually does. So I just do it with regular flour. It's not like we have any issues with flour or gluten, so we just do regular flour. So now let's wait until our bread is done resting. So to shape them, it's pretty much the same process as when I just did the rough shape at first. So I just take the dough and again, kind of laminate it. And I'll just kind of flip it on it over. You're really just building a little bit more structure. So you're really grabbing the ball, tucking it, and it does, as you can see, it doesn't stick a whole lot. Like I'm not having to add any flour, and it's just to build a little bit of structure and a little bit of strength to your dough. These bubbles, they're nice to see, but they're going to create holes in your bread. So it kind of gets rid of those big bubbles inside if you would have any of that. It's just going to leave a huge hole in your bread. Once you've shaped it and it's starting to feel good, you're going to take your basket and you're going to just pop it right inside like this. See? Perfect little basket. Once you've got them all in the baskets, you can sprinkle with a little bit of flour if you want. And then you're just going to put them in your fridge, cover with something, either a cloth, or I like these. You can just pop two under like this. I try to lift them up a little bit in case they rise so they don't stick. So now we put these in the fridge overnight, and by tomorrow morning, they'll be all ready for baking. The bread is proofed overnight. Now let's get this in the oven and start baking. I always set my oven the night before so that when I get up in the morning, and I put my Dutch ovens in the oven to preheat, so when I get up in the morning, everything is nice and warm, so I don't have to have that preheating stage. Now I'm going to pull the bread from the fridge, check to make sure it's properly proofed, pop those in the pans, and then put them in the oven. I put them in the oven at 450 for about 20 minutes, lower the heat to 425 for about another 10 to 15 minutes, take the cover off. I wish I had a bigger Dutch oven or a smaller Dutch oven. I could only fit one mini loaf in my Dutch oven, hoping that it's going to puff up and not puff out since I want to make a bowl. Let's get going. The bread looks nice and proofed. One way to tell as well is if you poke your finger in it, it's going to come back a little bit, but it shouldn't come all the way back up. So it has to leave a little indent, and it seems to be fine. All right, let's bring this over to the oven. We are going to place our loaves on a parchment paper. And I'm going to just make a small score on the top. Gonna put this in a couple more minutes so the tops get a little bit more brown. These are looking perfect. They didn't burn on the bottom. And now the next step is going to be to cook the rest of the bread and to start my corn chowder. I'm not going to be doing my corn chowder today because I don't need it today, but for the rest of you, you're going to probably see the corn chowder in about 3. It's time to do the corn chowder. Now, I'm not going to lie, I have never made corn chowder. I don't know why. I love corn chowder. It's just something I've never made. So we're going to learn how to do this together. I don't think it's very complicated. You're going to start by chopping and finely dicing a small onion. You're going to cut up some potatoes. I've got like this much, somewhere around 4 to 6 potatoes, depending on how much potato you want, and then finely dice 2 celery stalks. Then we're going to bring this over to the oven and start everything. It's really quick to assemble once you start going. To your saucepan, you're going to add a few slices of bacon and cook those up until they're nice and crispy. Don't throw out that bacon grease. We're going to use it to cook the rest of the vegetables. So to my saucepan, I added 6 tablespoons of butter. Let that melt down. In your saucepan, you'll be adding 1 small onion and 2 stalks of celery. Make sure to cook those down until they're nice and translucent and well cooked. And then incorporated 6 tablespoons of flour. You want to let that cook down a bit so you can get rid of that raw flour taste. And once this is nice and cooked down, you're going to add your broth. I added 5 cups of broth to the saucepan. You can use chicken or beef, whatever you prefer. Then bring everything to a boil, and your spices as well, your rosemary, your thyme if you're using thyme, and a bay leaf, salt and pepper to taste. In a pan on the side, I decided to roast my corn in a pan with a little bit of butter. You're going to add your potatoes. I had around 6 cups of potatoes. And then you can also incorporate your corn. You're going to let those simmer until your potatoes are fork tender. Once your potatoes are fork tender, you can remove some of them from the pot and mash them a little bit and then stir back into your chowder. It's going to make it a lot more thicker and creamier. You don't have to do this, only if you want a thicker consistency. Once your chowder is just about done, then you can incorporate about a cup of cream. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can add milk or you can add cream if you want it to be a little bit more rich. And this is where the sourdough bread magic comes into play. Cut the tops off and scooped out a little bit of bread from the center. And then I just ladled in my corn chowder inside the bread, crumbled a little bit of the bacon that we had put aside, and added some juice, of course. And this is what the final product looked like. Not only did it look great, it tasted great as well. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy my content. If you do, give it a big thumbs up. Don't be shy, subscribe, and be sure to check back again soon to see what other content I will have coming out.